Howdy folks. So I've had a lot of people ask me about the camera on my new Google Pixel phone, so I figured what I would do is just show you a few comparison shots that I took with my iPhone and with my Pixel. Now, I don't have an iPhone 7, but that being said, if any of you are interested in upgrading to a Pixel, I'm going to guess you're not doing it from an iPhone 7, which just came out a couple of weeks ago. So these were shot with a 6, so you can use that as you will. So the rules I set for myself for this were that I would take pictures with the native camera app for both, and I would not edit them or touch the screen before I took the picture or anything. I would just open the camera app and snap the picture. So that's what you're going to see for all of these shots here. They haven't been adjusted, they haven't been light leveled, they haven't been played with in any way whatsoever. I just opened the native camera app and took the shot. So one of the things that's always kept me tethered to my iPhone has been the fact that no camera has even come close. I've had Android phones before and the camera's been fine, but it's never actually done everything that an iPhone camera can do. And I find the Pixel to be just as good, if not better, at a lot of things. For example, looking at this picture right here, the wine glass, you can see obviously the different color cast in that you have a little bit brighter of a shot from the Pixel than you do from the iPhone. Also, the iPhone's color is a bit more sort of dull, I find. And plus you can see the details around the glass, the drops of wine on the glass, a little bit better. So for that particular one, which I wanted to get for detail, you can see that the Pixel seems to win out a little bit. This shot of the hotel hallway where we were staying in Ottawa last weekend, you can see that the brightness of the Pixel on the right by far exceeds the one of the iPhone. But the thing I find most interesting is actually if you look at the detail on the carpet, the Pixel has picked up the detail on the carpet, especially as it goes off into the distance, significantly better than the iPhone did. I wanted to get something backlit, so I took this picture. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, the sky looks a bit more realistic on the iPhone shot, but if you look at the detail on the column where he's standing, you can see a little bit more on the Pixel shot than you can from the iPhone shot. Also, it's a bit brighter in the background. If you look at the shops on either side, you can see a bit more of a brightness coming through on the Pixel shot rather than the iPhone shot. So the selfie camera is pretty good, as Chloe tested out for me here. It's a bit of a trade-off in the sense that you can see there's a bit more brightness to the iPhone in Chloe's face. There's more shadows on Chloe's face in the Pixel shot than there are in the iPhone shot. But the background has been much, much more evenly balanced, whereas in the iPhone shot it's a washout of light. In the Pixel shot you can actually see the windows, you can see the strats, etc. So that's a choice that you want to make. This was done in a fairly low light as well, so both of them picked up the low light pretty well. In terms of detail of landscape, etc., you can see pretty clearly that the Pixel is more than pulling its weight and doing better than the iPhone. All these pictures were taken within about a second or two of each other, maximum 3 seconds for most of these. And these were taken almost simultaneously through a window. But you can see very clearly the light and the detail of the Pixel far outweighs the iPhone. The Pixel actually shoots a little bit more. The pictures are a little bit larger. And you can see the colors are much more vibrant. The greens are a bit more lively, and the color on her face has been a little bit better balanced. You can see some hot spots on the iPhone photo around her forehead and her nose and her chin. Honestly, this one's a little bit of a toss-up. It could go either way. They both capture the color pretty nicely. You can see it's a little bit more vibrant in the iPhone picture than it is in the Pixel. The Pixel also has a feature called HDR Plus that Google leaves permanently turned on. Which does, I'm not usually much of an HDR guy, but it does seem to bring out a little bit more detail. Similar idea here, you can see the shadows on Chloe's face being thrown in both of them. I'd say this one's a toss-up as well. You can see the details on his face, I think, a little bit better in the Pixel shot. So for these pictures of the Parliament buildings, you can see it's a pretty close call. You can see that actually the Pixel has captured the entirety of the buildings, whereas the iPhone cropped it off a tiny little bit. You do get a wider spectrum there. And the detail is also pretty nice in both shots. Same with this. I would have a hard time picking a difference between these two shots. They're both really clean, really crisp. I did this one for the detail. I just wanted to have a look at something that was up close. I think I actually prefer the iPhone picture on this one because I do see the HDR effect of the Pixel a little bit more than I would like to. And so it's throwing a bit more shadow, and I find that the contrast is a little bit less to my taste. But honestly, that's more of a personal taste thing. So I took this picture of Chloe in chapters, and you can see it's, again, pretty close. The light on her face may be a tiny bit better in the Pixel. The balance in the background is the same on both shots. It's pretty solid. Now this one I found was one of the most interesting because this was taken around 11 o'clock at night, and you can see that the Pixel has captured much more in terms of the detail of the background. You have a lot more of the color. Now, to go with that, you also have a bit more digital noise. If you look up at the top, you can see that the sky, the darkness, is a little bit noisier because it's trying so hard to pick things out. So it depends what you like. I find both shots to be great, but if you really want some details and to see the things in a low light shot, the Pixel is certainly working overtime. And the sunset on the way home, you can see that I think the iPhone sky looks a little bit better, certainly more of a blue hue, whereas the Pixel definitely went for the orange. You can also see a little bit of a lens flare to the Pixel. I understand this is something that might be fixed with a future software update, but some people complain about it. I don't care personally with the lens flare. I think it looks totally fine. But again, pretty clear shots on both sides. I want to get some detail. You can see that the iPhone focused on the middle of the stem of this pumpkin, whereas the Pixel focused right at the bottom of the stem. No huge difference there, although I will say, I'll take this time to say that the autofocus on the Pixel is lightning fast. It focuses much more quickly than the iPhone. As soon as you aim it and turn it on, it is ready to shoot. Colors are vibrant. Everything is about the same otherwise for this one. And finally, for portraits, Jackie let me take these two of her. It's, again, pretty close, right? You can see that both of them have a pretty even light. They both captured, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to see which phone took which on this one. So those are some comparisons of the two. I have to say the Pixel more than does its job and holds its weight against the iPhone. I'm very, very happy with the camera so far. And that's that. Hopefully that helps some people who are thinking about the Pixel.